You can't buy a bucket from the Roman Automotive Group, but if you're looking for a great deal on a newer quality pre-owned vehicle, drive the lane and score one at one of their 6 locations, right there in Fort Wayne. You'll have Kia, Infiniti, Lexus, Nissan, Subaru, and my favorite, Toyota. There's something for everybody at every budget. The Roman Automotive Group believes in doing more for their employees and their families, more for the customers, friends, and neighbors, and the Roman Automotive Group believes in doing more for what makes Fort Wayne a greater community. If you check out one of the 6 locations in Fort Wayne, just tell them I sent you. You won't be disappointed. Shout out to the Roman Automotive Group. Thank you for sponsoring this podcast. Before we get into this episode, we got to give one big shout out to AJ's Beef, Burgers, and Beer right there on campus. Make sure you go by, get you a burger, get you a beer, watch a game, hang out. Best burger spot on campus. Make sure you check them out if you're ever in town. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Boiler Up at Rapheal Davis podcast, brought to you by the Crew Life Nonprofit Foundation. Today we have a very special guest, one of my favorite Boilermakers, one of my favorite people, someone I look up to, someone that I really think had a lot to do with turnarounds at Purdue, a lot to do just with the history of Purdue, what it means to be a true Boilermaker, what it means to play hard, someone I learned from, someone I don't become Defensive Player of the Year if it wasn't for learning from this guy. So, no further ado, Kenny Lowe. What's up, Kenny?
Oh, man, I appreciate it, man. You just made my day, man, giving me the shout out like that. No, thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Straight up, because just for me, I know I first got my first introduction to you when I was in high school. I think I was with Lalomere at camp or something.
Mm-hmm.
You said a few words to me because you were still playing. So you said a few words to me as somebody that's still playing would say somebody coming up. But then when I was reintroduced to you, you was coming back to Purdue. You was finished playing, you was coming back, and you was taking a role on staff. And for me, what I seen you come in and I seen you to look back on it, I'm 27 now, looking back on it, seeing a former pro drop his ego, come into a locker room full of, at that time too, when you came in, it was full of just like knuckleheads, like guys that didn't show a lot of respect. You just kept your head down and you grinded. Obviously you are where you are now from it. So it's definitely something I look up to and definitely want to talk about because I think a lot of people can learn from with the work you put in. Because it was no handouts to get where you are. So but no, I definitely want to get all into it. I don't want to go too much, but Kalo, I want to just go back to the original. I know a lot of Purdue fans, they love Kalo. They love 2-time Defensive Player of the Year. But where did you start? Where did you pick up a ball? When did you learn that you loved the game?
I think I was 13 years old. I started playing basketball when I was in the 2nd or 3rd grade, but I fell in love with it when I was 13. I had to make a choice between playing basketball and baseball. Baseball is my first love. And I honestly think if I lived in like a warm weather state, I probably would continue to play baseball. But when I became a freshman in high school, that's when I gave up baseball and I really fell in love with basketball.
That's what's up. What position you play in baseball?
I was cold, nah. I was cold. Midtown legend. I was a pitcher, center fielder, mostly pitcher and center fielder.
That's what's up. So that's what's up. So you made that commitment, I guess, middle school. And so when did you figure out that? You committed to playing the sport, but when did you figure out that you could become a Division I basketball player? When did you realize that you was decent at it?
I just believed in my high school coach, John Boyd. He was assistant coach. I just believed in him. He told me, if you guys work, that you guys will be good enough to play Division I. So as a freshman, I believed in him. I listened to him. I did everything he said to do, and it came to light.
That's what's up. And when did you start getting recruited? Who came in? Who was the first? Who did you like?
I can't say the first on here. My first unofficial visit. I'm not gonna say that on here, but I got the hype train was early because I actually played with a guy named Vincent Hart, who was a very talented player, ranked in the country since 8th grade. So schools would take notice of him and they'll come in the gym and they'll see me. And so I started heavily getting recruited as a sophomore. I led my team to semi-state, so a lot of schools start coming in. Then, but as a freshman, I didn't really have anything going on. And to be honest, for me, it wouldn't have mattered if it's start as a sophomore, junior. It's a matter of the right school. It's not a matter, having 400 schools come in and, getting all these letters and everything. It's just putting yourself in the right situation.
Right. And like you said, you play with a guy that was highly touted, a guy that was ranked. This is kind of like, obviously, I mean, I knowing you was a dude that just worked. You put in the work. But how important is that to even guys that, because guys come up around guys that are highly ranked or highly touted, but how important is that to still be that guy next to him and still put in that work every day? Because obviously, I mean, it worked out for you.
Yeah, at some point, I'm not gonna lie. When he went to Sonny Vaccaro camp, Adidas camp, and he came out, he was 13th in the country then. And I just seen all the attention you get, and I was like, man, that's cool. That's cool to see your name in magazines and see all these people talking about you. But all I knew was work. That's all my high school coach taught me. That's all my mom taught me. And eventually, I ended up, passing these guys up in due time. But coming up and as a freshman with my crew, I was probably the third or fourth best player. But I just outworked them. I loved it more than they did. They loved playing and everything, but I gave my life to basketball as a sophomore in high school, as a freshman in high school. So that's when I started taking off just each year, just gradually. And by the time senior year, it was everybody knew whose team it was.
That's what's up. And by then, I mean, obviously, I mean, because you're from the region. I mean, obviously, you got a lot of guys come out of there. Big Dog, obviously went to Purdue. So were you familiar with Purdue when Purdue started recruiting you, or was it something that, and I don't know how I was in the region at that time? Was it a big deal when like, because obviously Big Dog, was it a big deal when Purdue came in the picture for you?
It was a big deal because I knew of Purdue since I was. My sister went to school with Glenn, so I knew he was. I knew his, where he went to school, and I knew his path or whatnot. So it was a big deal for me. To be honest, any school that recruited me was a big deal. Not just Purdue because it was the closest school, but it was a big deal to get recruited. Period. I thought it was an honor at that time. To get letters, handwritten letters, to get phone calls from coaches. So, I didn't grow up. Purdue wasn't a dream school of mine growing up, but it was a school that I always wanted to go.
Yeah. How was that? And I mean, you commit to Purdue. You come to Purdue at a time of success. You playing with really good players too. Your freshman year. What was that like coming in as a freshman playing for Gene Katie and kind of well? And believe you redshirted your freshman year.
No, I just didn't play.
But you redshirted one of those years, right? You played
I
five.
read it was my sophomore year because I had surgery on my shoulder.
Oh, okay. I had the
Yeah.
year mixed up. But what was that like coming in as a freshman, coming in and play for? I mean, an established program, a Hall of Fame coach, stuff like that.
It was awesome, man. I wanted to play more, of course. That's the only thing that was, that I didn't like about it, but I wasn't ready. I wasn't better than Jerron Cornell. Like, I'm be honest, I wasn't better than Carson Cunningham, Mike Robinson. I wasn't better than those guys, but I did want to play more. But it was awesome, man, because you come in, the team is winning. We lost the last game in a tie for the championship of the Big Ten, so we ended up finishing second. But it was just a great time. It was hard, man. Coach Katie he was hard on you. It was tough as a freshman back then. You took your lickings, man. You did the dirty work. You carried the bags. It wasn't no ifs ands buts about it on the bus to the planes. But it was a great learning experience. I was lucky, man, to have those seniors. They took me under their wing. So that's what kind of helped me become the captain that I was because those guys, I mean, they knew that I was, I wasn't upset, but I was, kind of disappointed that I didn't play more. But they was always in my ear telling me, Carson telling me to come work at night, Brian Cardinal telling me just play hard, Mike Robinson working out with me, just all those guys, Jerron Cornell, all those guys just taking me under their wing, and it just helped me do that to guys younger than me.
No, that makes perfect sense. I mean, it's kind of seems like you just kind of came into a culture of guys helping guys, and you just kind of carried it on. Because I mean, those guys leave, you redshirt the next year, you say, but I mean, leading you ultimately two-time defensive player of the year. What went into that?
I got to give credit to my high school coach, man. At a young age, he coached me in middle school as well. He always tell me, Lowe, you get 20 and your guy get 20, it doesn't matter.
Ooh,
So I always took that challenge that I'm gonna get my 20 and I'm not gonna let him get his. So it's been like that since I was probably in seventh, eighth grade. I just had that mentality that for me it's embarrassing getting scored on. And then when you getting 25, 30-point piece. That's really embarrassing. Like I personally take that as an embarrassment. So I just didn't want that stuff to happen. Because when I came up out of Gary, every school had at least two Division I players. So the region, when I was coming up, was tough. I mean, you got the Hammond schools had 2 or 3 Division I players, Maryville 4 or 5. Everybody, Valpo had a few, and so it was just a gang of Division I players up in the region at that time. So I didn't want to get embarrassed.
That's real. And you said you learned that. So I mean, that's something that because I'm around kids, I coach kids. That's what they're not learning. They're not learning that the value in doing it on both sides, and that's something that your coach instilled in you early, and you just had in you. And I
Yeah,
mean, who were some of the? I mean, just because so people know and people understand that your era at that time. Who were some of the guys you were guarding in the Big Ten during those run of 2-time Defensive Player of the Year?
it was tough, man. It was like you got the Jared Jeffries. I mean, coach would put me on anybody. It can be from 6'1" to 6'10". I guarded multiple 6'10" guys during my time, but like Bracy Wright, Devin Harris, Darren Williams, D. Brown, Luther Head, James August, Roger Powell, um, Joe Crispin at Penn State, really good player. John Crispin, um, Tucker Kid from Wisconsin. Minnesota, they had uh, Rick Richard, Rick Rickard.
Who was your
So
favorite matchup?
my favorite matchup. I'm not gonna lie, I like the those young guys at Michigan when they had Bernard Robinson and I think it's Avery, little point guard.
Yeah.
Those matchups, them young dudes was good, man, and they went at me, and they went at me, and they tried to talk back to me a few times until I had to let them know. Those were fun, and the Illinois matchups was fun. Playing against Darren Williams and D Brown and those guys, because those were serious. We had a pretty good record against Illinois when I was in school.
Because I mean, would you guard all three of them throughout the game? At some point, because that's I don't know. That might be one of the best backcourts. Because I was in elementary school. I remember that team. Have you?
They were cold. I would guard Darren Williams most of the time or Luther Head, but I never forget it was one game at Wisconsin and we got smashed. I switched up who I was guarding almost every 2-3 possessions because somebody had scored and coach would be like, "Did you get on him?" Somebody else had scored. Did you get on him? I mean, we got smashed that game. That was probably my most embarrassing game ever.
So what was the toughest arena to play in back then?
Toughest. I'll give a few. I'll give Michigan State. Indiana was tough. Um, Wisconsin, man, they didn't. I mean, you got to look at what Coach Bo Ryan did, man. It's pretty remarkable, man. They they didn't lose a lot of games, man, and especially at home.
Right.
So Wisconsin was always tough.
And I mean, so obviously, like you said, you didn't play the minutes you wanted to as a freshman, but you turned into not just the guy on the team, but a star in the league. What was that like being that guy, getting the crowd going in Mackey Arena? What was that like playing in front of the crowd, playing on Mackey Court, 14,000 full?
First off, it was humbling not playing. It was very humbling. I didn't come in and expect to start or play, 25, 30 minutes, but it was humbling when you playing 3 minutes a game.
Yeah.
And so, what I did that next summer, I used to see Coach Martin was in school then. He wasn't an actual coach, so I would run into him throughout the campus, and he'll give me advice from time to time. And he told me, he said, this summer, work like no other. So I was on my own. I was doing 3 a-days. That's not including, the stuff with the team, the weights and the open gym and stuff. I lived in the gym and I worked and went to school. That's all I did. And ended up working out. So, but playing in Mackey is just unbelievable, man. Like, I can't describe it. They like my sophomore year, I think they had the K-Lowe meter. A lot of people don't know about that. So it'd be like how many plays, good plays I make in the game. They just had his meter and it'd just keep going up and up. It was pretty cool. Like, I totally forgot about that.
Oh, you was the guy.
Nah.
K-Lo, you ain't tell us these stories, man.
I forgot about that, man. I forgot about it. Somebody brought that up to me.
That's dope. Nah, because I mean, and too, I just want to hit on something. I mean, I'll say it. Like, because I was that guy too my freshman year. I didn't play much until Big Ten season I started playing. But the work that it takes to play at that level and not run from it. I mean, and no disrespect for anybody that has left for school or whatever, but the work that it takes and the work that you put in that summer and the reward that you got from it, I mean, that's what it takes. And that's the type of, like you said, you put yourself through 3 days. You got into the gym early. You stayed in the gym late. And a lot of people just need to understand that sometimes it's, you want something so bad, but sometimes you just put in the work and you get it. But that's what, for me, I mean, that's exactly what I've seen you do with coaching. So it just sounds kind of like the same thing. It just kind of seems like when you put in the work, good things come out for you.
Yeah, we people, and it's people, it's not just athletes, tend to feel sorry for ourselves.
It's true.
But we just need to be more realistic. You know what I mean? Like, I knew I wasn't better than Jerron. I knew it. Like, there's no way I could, with my ego, whatever pride, say I was better than him. So you just gotta work. You just gotta work, man, and just let the chips fall and just pray.
And at this point in your life, before we go further, I just want to ask, when you think about Purdue, you look back on your time there. What did that experience mean to you?
Oh, it meant everything, man. I grew up. I grew up there. You know, it helped change a kid from Gary become a man. And just the people that I met. I met the most incredible people there, and I think that's the best thing about it. Just the people, God bless his soul. You know, John Nines, the Jeff Lees, Larry Clisby. Like, those people are unbelievable people. You know what I'm saying? They cared about Lowe as a person, not just as a basketball player. You know, a guy named Joe Livis said he used to own a lot of apartments on campus, and I was looking for an apartment, and I met him, and he actually helped me find a church. You know, things like that. That, a lot of people don't know that they're more helpful to athletes than what they think they are. So it's the people there, man. The Nate Bears, all the secretaries that I had, the Kathy O'Brien's, Deb Hayward's, Jane, like, just great people that cared about me as for me and not just as an athlete.
Oh, that's super real. No, that's, I mean, and that, for me the same. And for what I mean, and you leave Purdue. I mean, you have a great career overseas. Where are some of the places that you played, and what are some places that you enjoyed or you didn't enjoy? Because I know you probably got some stuff.
Ooh, got a few stories. I did enjoy Turkey. It was my first time, my first year. I was a rookie. Just the situation wasn't good. I didn't enjoy. Um, they just weren't really very friendly. A lot of people didn't speak English, and my situation for basketball wasn't great. But I love Germany. I love Finland. I love Venezuela. I loved everywhere I went. You just got to make it. You got to make it fun. You got to find a way to enjoy yourself.
Right. And it's not as I don't know how you feel about it, but I know a lot of guys grow up and they think, oh, if I don't make it to the league, I'm just gonna go overseas. It's not as easy as people think, especially, and it's not as easy to turn into a career. I mean,
No,
talk about the grind of having to be overseas, away from your family. I mean, like you said, you by yourself, you working, and sometimes you're not in the greatest situation.
yeah, and the thing is, back when I was there, it wasn't iPhone, so you couldn't easily FaceTime and
Ooh,
iMessage with the internet. So you had to get a Skype number or you Skype.
hey,
So it's a lot tougher than what people think, and the money isn't what everybody think. The one thing, so many people lie about how much money they making, so they boys and they friends and everybody, they teammates think that they really getting all this money, and it's not like that. You just got, in my opinion, I think the best thing is, either if you don't lead the league in scoring, you just got to win. And I become accustomed to winning later in my career, and that's kind of how I got my niche, and that's how, when people weren't doing good, I was that guy that they would call, because I helped save two teams that was about to drop down to the second league. And I helped them stay above water, and that's how I kind of got a reputation of a guy that can help save teams.
hey, that's real. That's what's up. I mean, so just throughout, I mean, because I heard you say earlier, sophomore, you led your team to semi-state. So you just always been a winner. What is
I always wanted to.
always wanted? Yeah, but that's a trait that not a lot of people have. I mean,
Right.
believe it or not, what instilled the want to win to you?
I'll be honest, man. It was my mom. She always told me it wasn't about me. So, like, even if you go back and look at some of my interviews that I did in college, I always try to talk about Northwest Indiana, Gary, 219. just to bring something positive. So I always, I always thought it was about the next man. And I always thought it was about my younger teammates. I always thought it was about my older teammates. So I just wanted to win, regardless. Just wanted to win and go from there.
And honestly, a lot of people get into coaching, and maybe it's not their passion, or maybe it's they're doing it for the wrong reasons. But for you, what you just said, you want to do it for the next man. You want to help the next person. You want to, put your city, your region on. But then also you want to win, and you want to help players learn how to win and be in positions to win. So then you, after you finish playing, you finish winning, you come into coaching. Why? What, for me, I have a thought of why, but what led you into coaching? Did you always know you wanted to go that direction, or was it something that just kind of came about?
Kind of in between. Like if you read my last interview in Gold and Black, I said when I leave Purdue, I was going to do three things. I was either going to be in Hollywood, I was going to be playing professional basketball, or I was going to be coaching. And I just think people who have been captains most of their lives on, most of their teams or all their teams, they're just natural born coaches. They're born to help the next man, to help the younger guys, or to help the team. So it was something that I kind of knew that I was going to do. Eventually, I just didn't know when. And in this business, there's no perfect timing. I got lucky. I thank Coach Painter for helping me start my career because he didn't have to hire me and he have to bring me in. So it's just so hard getting in this business. Most people really don't understand. They think if you're a good player at a school, that means you just automatically gonna be in, and it's not like that.
Right, right. And what was that experience like coming in? Because you didn't play for Coach Paint, you were
Mhm.
done by the time he got there. You may have heard stories about him or whatnot. But what was that like coming in and starting your career under Coach Paint?
It was awesome because when I came in, coach don't have an ego. So a guy like me that had no experience, that honestly I didn't really know the college game because it evolved from when I was playing.
Right.
So as I learned a lot just watching tape and watching film, but coach would let me give my input, and that just instilled confidence. You just got to know what you're talking about. You just can't say anything. Um, but coach was awesome, and he's a no ego guy, and he's always trying to help the next man.
Yeah, he is. No, straight up, I appreciate Coach. I forgot to having a dang, Lo, you got me talking. Oh yeah, we are having a dinner at Fort Wayne Country Club, June 8th. Coach Painter is coming down. Coach Painter is going to be our guest speaker. We're going to have a question and answer section with him. Maybe be able to take a picture, social distance or whatever. But we'll have a good night, June 8th. You'll be able to purchase tickets. You can check out my website, raphealdavisbasketball.com, to be able to go to the link and get your tickets and whatnot. But yeah, back to you, Lowe. But Lowe, you came into a time too. I want to ask you this question. This is a question I always want to ask you. Did your first year coaching at Purdue, did that discourage you from coaching the next year? Like, did that first experience, was that one of those things like, this ain't for me?
Now it didn't discourage me, but it brought me to reality that I always felt like I can help everybody. All the guys, my teammates, I always felt like I can help them. When they not doing what they supposed to do. But just not having a great relationship with a bunch of those guys when I came in, and not being able to help them quicker or better, it was frustrating for me.
Mm-hmm.
And you learn a lot being around people and being a coach. So at the end of the day, you just got to give your full effort, and sometimes you just can't help everybody. And I always felt like I could, and that was a reality check for me.
No, I get exactly what you're saying. No, I get what you're saying. Because you came in, like, one of the things you said to me was, nobody care about my basketball career that I had. Like, I don't want to talk about that. I want to just help. So you came in as that guy that dropped his ego and wanted to help. So I get exactly what you're saying. Because like, when you talk about like, if you just would have came in somebody in that locker room and said, yo, they used to have a Kalo meter in me, man, nobody would have been ever saying nothing to you. You know what I mean? But
Right.
it never went there with you. You always humble and egoless, but you could see it was always about helping someone because you had your career, you had your fun, you had your time. And I don't think that first year, I don't think a lot of people saw that. I don't
Yeah.
think a lot of people even, just being honest, I don't think a lot of people respected it because they just didn't even look into it.
Right.
But I don't want to. But anyway, going to that year though, even that next year, because I give you a lot of credit for my turnaround defensively. because one you talked a lot, so you would make it known that I wasn't guarding.
Right.
Two, the way you could break down film in the way that you saw the game defensively, and I think that speaks to why, this is just my opinion, but I think that speaks to why players, like you said, that have been captains, that have won, that have had success, should be able to go into coaching.
Right.
Because you were able to see the game. Sorry. You were able to see the game still at a player's perspective. And you're able to break things down to me at a player's view instead of a quote unquote coach's angle.
Right.
I credit a lot of that film work and a lot of that visual and a lot of that be here, not there, and a lot of that pull to the side, a big turnaround. But also, I mean, like you just would say play hard. And you was a nonsense guy when it came to playing hard.
Right.
And all of those things, especially when those 5 freshmen came into that, they came into you already being there and that already being established.
Right.
So I definitely just wanted to let you know that I mean, as far as guys that's up there in the turnaround, I put you up there as well because we had a big turnaround that next year. But the work that you put in, talk about the work that you put in at the ground level as a big starting out coaching, video coordinator. I mean, you come in the office, Lowe was the first one there, Lowe was the last one to leave. You come in the locker room, Lowe was sitting on the couch with his hood on, it's 6 a.m. But talk about that work that you had to put in to start to even become an assistant coach now where you are at Miami of Ohio.
It was tough, but because I didn't know the collegiate game, and that frustrated me because as a pro it's totally different, and even it just evolved too as well from when I was playing. I didn't really have a relationship with a bunch of the guys on staff. I knew Coach Brantley. I knew Bloom. That's about it. I knew Coach Payne a little bit. I didn't know Coach G, and I didn't know Coach O. So um, just being around a bunch of people that you really don't know and they just know of you, it just wasn't very comfortable at first. But those guys were really good guys who end up embracing me, and I'll go in the office and sit down and watch what they do.
Right.
It's just a learning process. Even now, it's still a learning process. Like at the end of the day, coaches just look at other coaches and they tweak things and they use what other people do. You know what I'm saying? So it's still a learning process and a learning curve. The coaches that win, they just continuously evolve. Like the way Coach Painter coached before you is totally different from the way he coached now, and he just evolving with the times and his players and everything. So I think the good ones, they just keep evolving and keep evolving with the game of basketball.
Oh, nice. And obviously you kept evolving and you kept putting the work because I guess the theme of this podcast is going to be the work that you put in because the work that you put in and the sacrifices that you made, I don't know if a lot of other people would have did it. So
Yeah.
I just really want that to be just known that, I mean, when it comes to getting where you are, because now I want to go into where you are now, Miami of Ohio, but like that wasn't a handout. You getting to where you are. You put in so much work and I admire it. But now you're in Miami of Ohio. I mean, you're coaching young people, you're developing young men. What's that like coaching? What's that like being with Coach Owens? I mean, you're with Cowan, so you kind of with familiar faces a little bit. Tell me what it's like over there in Ohio.
Ooh, Coach O, boy, he's tough on you, but it's good because I feel like I'm growing every year. But Coach ain't no slack. He got that smile that everybody know from Purdue, but he hardcore. A lot of people hasn't seen that side, but no, it's great. It's great. When I can actually get on the court with guys, I was so excited that first summer just to be on the court because with you guys, I wanted to get out there so bad, man. Just to even just if I'm rebounding or passing, but just building chemistry, just being on the court with you guys, and I couldn't do it, and I used to eat at me during practice. So it's still a learning experience, but it's great to just be around our guys. I think we got a really good team, but we got really good guys as well. So I enjoy it every day. I'm blessed and I'm lucky. I'm where my feet are. I'm happy and I'm grateful to be here. Like Miami, it's such a better place than what a lot of people think. Just the academics is unbelievable. Our administration is top notch. So it's a really good situation here, and I'm happy that I'm blessed to be in a situation like this instead of some situation where administration not supporting you, campus isn't supporting you. So I'm grateful and thankful to be here.
I like what you said. I'm where my feet are. I like that, and I like
People try
how.
to move so much, man, and I get it. If that's what you do, that's what you do. But I can only see what's in front of me. That's what I want to see. I want to see our young men graduate. I want to see them get better on the court. I want to see them grow as men. So, I'm all in. I'm invested.
That's what's up. And now, I mean, now another part that you couldn't do with us. I mean, now you're on the road. Now you're recruiting. When you looking at a young person, what? Because I know the game is changing. Like last night, I with my 17U team, and I run them. Like I lost it. Like I lost it. Like one of them told me they couldn't make an 18 in a minute, and like the game has changed a lot. I don't want to say kids are softer, but I would just say the game has changed. So what are you? Just so it's known that I mean Division One college basketball coach, when you're on the road, when you're recruiting, when you're looking at players, not even when you're talking to anybody, when you're just at a basketball game, what does good basketball look like to you? What are you looking for?
Uh, First and foremost, body language. How you interacting with your coaches and your teammates. I think that's important. But just also too, just what skill set do you have? Are you a shooter, slasher, rebounder, true point guard, scoring point? Just kind of identifying what's your skill set, and then after that, just seeing how well you use it. But I think it's for me, and I know Coach Owens the same way. Like we love seeing people live. Like I want to see the interaction, how you respond to adversity. A lot of times, last summer all these events were recorded. You won't see everything. You just see the game. But I want to see when your coach is getting on you, how you responded, or if you need to get on a player, how they responding, or how you going about that. So it's just that interaction that I love about it.
No, that's what's up. That's what's up. I mean, talk about now. I mean, where are some where's your favorite place to go play? You've been in the league a couple years now. What's some of the arenas, some of the toughest arenas in the conference?
Boy, they all tough because the thing is, the team that's finished this in 11th to 12th, they're capable of beating the teams this second, third, and fourth. You know what I mean? So it's just a different challenge. This year was just a totally different ball game with no fans.
Right,
So I
right,
think every road game, and we played more road games than home games, was tough just because you got to create your own energy. You got to keep it lively. You got to keep the guys engaged.
right.
This was the hardest coaching year of my career, but it was one of the best as well because I really thoroughly enjoy our guys, and that just makes your job so much easier when you really enjoy them.
And what I mean, and obviously, definitely coming out of COVID, coming out of the situation. Hopefully, we're able to have fans next year. Hopefully, the players able to have a just a real year. What are some of the things you're looking forward to going into next season with your guys?
Me personally, just continue to build relationships with them. Those guys has been here 4 years, 5 years. Guys have been here 1 or 2, but I just think that's the most important thing right now. Just having great relationship with your players, and just watching them grow. I want to see what improvements do these guys make when they get back in June, till they leave in August. So those are things I'm looking forward to. Just being around them. Man, I thoroughly like being around them. They're funny. Like going out to eat with them. Just or you going to watch a softball, baseball game or something. But just that interaction, just being around them, because I mean, like I said, we got good guys, so it just makes it easier to spend more time with them.
That's what's up, man. Kate Lowe, you a real players coach, man.
Nah,
That's always good when the right people get in the right position. I always say that, and I always appreciate what you done for me. I mean, my mother spoke about the words you gave me when I was a senior at Lalomere at the Purdue camp. So those things where you always been giving back. I mean, it's definitely appreciated on my side. But the guys that you coaching now, it's gonna be one of the things where they realize what you're doing, but they definitely gonna realize the work that you putting in with them, the time that you're spending with them, the time away from your own family that you're spending with them. So, I mean, from me to you, I appreciate it from for what you did for your region. I mean, you're a legend. You get what I'm saying? So for what you continue to keep doing, I'm excited to see it grow. I'm excited for you to get a head job and bring me on as a coordinator or something. I can recruit for you. But Lo, I definitely just want to from all the Boilermakers out there, I want to say thank you for what you did for Purdue. Two-time Defensive Player of the Year. I mean, you set a mold for the Chris Kramers. You set a mold for me. I mean, to be, I mean, considered the best defensive player to ever come through Purdue. I mean, that says a lot about what you did. But it says, I mean, what you've been doing your whole life. I mean,
Right.
you've been playing both
Ray,
sides.
Ray, and to be honest, that's what it's about. Like people, man, from when Kramer was in school, you know, people always said, you know, who asked me this question, who was the best defensive player to ever come through Purdue? Who the best? Who the best? Who the best? And I get it, and it's fun for fans, but you know, for me, I say Rapheal Davis, I say Lewis Jackson, I say Brandon McKnight, I say AJ Hammonds, like Chris Kramer, and it's about the progression of the program. You know, it's not about, you know, who was the best in 1990. Like it's about the progression. So when I see you making, you know, defensive player of the year, AJ making it, Kramer making it, like for me, I'm like those dudes are the best
Right,
because they the ones doing the most current. You know
right.
what I mean? And it's continuing that people know that Purdue's probably gonna have a dude in consideration for defensive player of the year every single year.
Say that.
So it's the progression, man. So I always shout out all you guys when people say that. I say it's Ray, it's Lou Jack. Brandon Knight is the most underrated defensive player ever in Purdue. Kramer, AJ, all you guys, you know what I mean? Like Dakota was better than what people think defensively. So, you know, it's about the progression of the program, man. That's why you guys are the GOATs.
Nah, I appreciate that. I know, no, that's real. But I am still gonna give it back to you and say, I mean, you took your two, and then you can add mine to yours. You can add AJ to yours. So you was responsible for a few of those. But no, I get what you're saying because straight up, that is what it's about. And it's all about giving credit to where it started. Because when I found out that you was 2-time defensive player of the year, it gave me confidence to go after it. It gave me confidence to defend. It built me because I mean, Lowe, I mean, you told us you guarded Darren Williams. I mean, it just is a different type of feel that you can go out there and you say, this is who I'm guarding, you know what I mean? But I definitely always appreciate your humbleness and definitely what you're feeding into the boys at Miami of Ohio. I really wish you guys the most success and the most successful summer because it's another great thing about you and it's little things I'm catching throughout. You looking at a short-term goal. You say, I want our guys to be June to August. I want them to get better. And then we move from there.
Right.
So, I mean, it's just kind of how you go about things. It's things that people can learn from and just work and put your head down. But I mean, for anybody out there listening, we have our basketball camps coming up. We have basketball camp in Fort Wayne, Indiana, June 7th through the 10th. And then we're going to West Lafayette, June 21st through 24th at Harrison High School. You can sign up at RaphealDavisBasketball.com. For always, if anybody's out there, you can't afford basketball camp, you want to attend a high-level basketball camp around Division I college basketball players, let me know, DM me, message me. Definitely will get you a scholarship in the camp. We definitely want as many kids to be involved in basketball activity, summer activity as possible. But Lowe,
If possible, man, I'll send somebody to camp, man. We just chop it up after we get off or later on, man, and I'll send a couple kids to camp this summer.
yeah,
I just gotta run it through my compliance guy.
no, I appreciate that, Lowe. All youth camps, so it's all elementary, up to 13 years old. So I talked to a lot of compliance people over like the last couple of months. It's all good. No more prospect age kids. It's all good, Lowe.
Got you.
But no, I appreciate you, Lowe. Anything I can do for you, let me know. For the Boilermakers out there, thank you all for listening. Boiler up, hammer down, all hair Purdue.